Welcome to AlphaCars and Royal Enfield Boston. Today we're taking a look at two new Royal Enfield motorcycles. These are both new 2024 Interceptor 650s. Of course, Royal Enfield made some awesome changes for the 2024 model year, so we will go over what's new for these bikes, and we'll go over the differences between these two, as these are two different variants of the Interceptor 650. If you are new to the channel, welcome to AlphaCars. We share daily motoring content on exciting things like these Royal Enfield bikes, so definitely subscribe so you don't miss out. But now, let's take a closer look at these Interceptors. First, let's talk about the colors. We have two new colors here for the Interceptor. Let's start on the blue one. This is Barcelona blue, and this is one of what Royal Enfield calls their blacked out variants. So you could call it maybe the top model of the Interceptor, and most notably you can see the differences are the alloy wheels and the full black engine and exhaust. Really the full drivetrain is all black there. Now moving over to maybe more of what we're used to seeing on the Interceptor. This is called Black Pearl. And this one has the standard looking engine. You can see the partial kind of just aluminum there, and then the polished chrome, and of course those nice double chrome pipes, and the sort of standard spoked wheels that we're used to seeing on the Interceptor. So let's dive in now to what's new for 2024. We can see one color has alloys, one color has spoked wheels, so you know what's the deal with that. So on the two blacked out models Royal Enfield has, those get the alloy wheels. So the only 2024s to get these alloys, with of course the tubeless tires, are the two blacked out models, those being the Black Ray, and then this one is the Barcelona blue. And then the remaining sort of standard models do get the same spoked wheels with the tube tires, and those would be the Black Pearl, which is this one in front of us, also Canyon Red, Cali Green, and Sunset Strip. And Cali Green is another awesome color that's new for 2024, so we will have a video at some point on that bike, taking a close look there. But today we've just had these two pulled out of the showroom. They've been assembled, and we're excited to share them with you. So now, what's also new for 2024? Well, what I'm about to tell you, all the models get these changes, not just some of the colors. The alloy wheels is the only change that only these blacked out models get. So starting out, we have new switch gear. These Royal Enfield call them the premium switch cubes, crafted using aluminum, and they are really high quality. They're awesome to use, very kind of hefty design, and we may be used to these. These are what we've seen on the Meteor and Classics, and it's nice to see them on the Interceptor. They're really a pleasure to use, and they look really nice as well. The grips are new as well, as a part of this kind of premium package here. Once again, these are the ones we're kind of used to seeing on the 350 bikes. And a really welcome addition, let me get the camera on a good angle here. A very welcome addition is the USB charger. So once again, the Meteors and Classics had the same kind of clutch lever mounted USB port right here. It's kind of hidden. You kind of have to be told about it. It's kind of a hard thing to find. As you can see, it's hard to get a good camera angle on this, and Royal Enfield even has some creative angles with their photos to show you this on their website. But really discreet. I've always liked that on the 350 bikes. And we can see the levers, the reach is adjustable as well with these knobs here. Of course, you have to push the level forward a little bit to then be able to fine tune your reach. So that's another really premium item that's nice to see, because I know for me, a lot of times you get a new bike and it does not have adjustable levers. The first thing I'm doing is putting adjustable levers to get really a comfortable reach and a comfortable grip. So that's awesome to see as well. Now moving over, let's look at this bike for a little while here. The LED headlight, another change for 2024. Check that out, full LED housing there, and we can see the turning on the high beam there. So really an awesome look, really a great update. Now no more having to immediately put maybe a LED bulb in there to get some better light output. Right from the factory, they have a nice updated design. They look great and they're very bright as well, really adding a lot of safety to riding on the road. And that's really it for what they've added for 2024. Really some nice notable changes, some great updates in some really important areas, you know, things that you're really using every time you ride the bike, like the switchgear and like the headlight. So now let's dive in a little bit to the specifications of these bikes. Let's just learn a little bit more about them. Of course, all these specifications translate through both of these models, really through all the models of the Interceptors. Like I said, the only difference between the colors is going to be whether it has the tubeless alloy rims or the tubed spoked rims over there. So starting out, the engine, a parallel twin, fuel injected, 47 horsepower, around 38 foot-pounds of torque, and it is mated to a 6-speed gearbox. These are a blast to ride. They sound great, especially there are various aftermarket exhaust options for them. And these bikes, they're just very easy to ride and very responsive. Royal Enfield, they really have the fueling dialed in as well. So no matter the elevation you're at or the temperature you're trying to ride in, you know, there's going to be no messing with a choke on your carburetor or having to service your carburetor every season. These things, you just hit the button and go. The fueling is really dialed in. They run really smooth and they are very responsive on the road. Talking about fuel capacity, 3.6 gallon fuel tanks on these, and Royal Enfield gives an estimated 63 miles per gallon. Of course, depending on the fuel quality and how you're riding the bike, how the bike's loaded as well. But with, you know, around 60 miles a gallon and 3.6 gallon capacity, you're going to have a lot of smiles and a lot of fun between fuel stops. These do weigh 480 pounds wet, so that's really the true weight of what you're going to be handling on the road. Don't be fooled by a motorcycle's dry weight. That is not including the oil, not including the gas or the fluid, brake fluid. So the wet weight is really what you want to go by. That's what you're actually going to be maneuvering and, you know, having to handle while you're riding on the road. So 480 pounds there. So not too bad for really a bike of this size in this segment. And with the frame geometry of these bikes, they are very easy to ride. They feel great at lower speeds, especially in like a parking lot scenario. They're just very confidence inspiring, and, you know, don't be intimidated by maybe a 480 pound bike. It doesn't really feel all that heavy, especially, like I said, when you're at those low speeds and maneuvering around. So Royal Enfield did a really great job there with the balance of these machines. Of course, they are on the center stands right now, but they do have 6.8 inches of ground clearance. So if you got to go over speed bumps or maybe you hit a rough part of the road, you don't really have to have much worry there about bottoming out the machine. And I did just note that they're on the center stands. So we can see even the center stands are painted black here, like the frame looks really awesome. That is a huge feature, in my opinion, that these bikes come with as factory. Most new bikes now, they don't have center stands anymore. And center stands are pretty expensive to buy in the aftermarket, and especially if you're not going to install it yourself, it's going to be really, depending on the bike, you know, a few $100s in labor to have one installed. So huge on Royal Enfield's part for including that as a standard feature on these bikes. Just adds a lot of value, in my opinion. It's a great way to store the bike on the center stand. It's the safest way to work on the bike, whether you need to do, you know, a tire change or just simple maintenance like checking your chain and cleaning and lubricating things there. So I just always like to mention that like I said, a lot of bikes in a even much higher price segment, they don't have center stands as standard, and Royal Enfield really outdid themselves there. Let's touch on the brakes now. At the front, we have a nice big 320 millimeter disc. It is drilled and it is a floating design. So what that means is when you get some heat in the rotors, maybe you're on a fun sort of backroad blast, of course, where it's safe to do so, you're always going to have a nice smooth stopping experience. And we have a 2-piston caliper up front, and we can see the ABS tone ring here, because these do have ABS as standard front and rear. And now, using our other bike here to check out this rear rotor, we have a 240 millimeter disc back here. Once again, floating design, it is drilled, and we have a single piston caliper. And once again, we can see the ABS ring there. These have ABS front and rear as standard. which is an awesome, really nice safety feature. Now let's take a look at the seat. Seats are very comfortable, stock, nice kind of classic bench seat with this kind of diamond pattern, and the stitching is visible. It all just looks really nice and adds to that retro look of the Interceptor here. And it's only a 31.6 inch seat height, so very unintimidating, especially maybe being a new rider, or if you don't have the advantage of maybe being a tall rider. It really adds a lot of confidence when riding these bikes. Let's talk about the warranty for just 1 second, and then I'm going to swing a leg over and we'll check out all the controls and give one of them a startup here. These come with a 3-year unlimited mileage warranty, which is really best in class. Most other manufacturers offer a 1-year, maybe a 2-year warranty on their bikes. So the 3-year unlimited mileage, you could, in those 3 years, if you wanted, you could literally ride your Royal Enfield, around the country, around the world if you wanted, and you're still going to be in factory warranty. So really good on Royal Enfield there. We barely see these bikes in for warranty concerns. They are very well engineered bikes, very robust, and really, even if those 3 years are up, I wouldn't have any doubts, going into the ownership past there. These are just very well built bikes, and the moment you're around one in person and you can see the fit and finish and hear how smoothly and feel how smoothly these engines run, then you'll be right on the same page with what I'm saying. And speaking of the engines being very well engineered, nice spin-on oil filter like a car right on the front. So these are really easy to service yourself. And the drain bolt, I'm not sure if the camera is showing it, but the drain bolt is very accessible under there for the oil for doing your own servicing. I just love seeing that spin-on filter. It really adds such an ease of maintenance to do it yourself. And really, there's a lot of filtration going on in that filter, opposed to maybe a small cartridge style of the older bikes. So you have to keep track of the O-rings in there and the spring. So I just love seeing that, touch of modern convenience on these bikes. Well, now let me swing a leg over it here, and let's check out these controls. So let me get the camera at a nice angle for you. I will say these grips are super comfortable. We can see I can flex them a little bit with my hand here. They're kind of like a soft touch rubber, and these bikes have little to no vibrations coming through the bars really, because the engine is so balanced. But anything that does make its way through the bars, you get these out in the open road, you'll be very surprised at how smooth it feels through the bars. Of course, we have our clutch here with that nice adjustable lever, and we have this nice 3-way integrated switch here. So we have our lights on the normal run position. Flash to pass is to the right, and our high beam is to the left. We have our blinkers, we have our horn, moving our way to the right-hand grip. Of course, our throttle, front brake lever, also adjustable as I had mentioned. We have this nice 3-way kind of run switch, so we're on run right now. That's kill, and then to start, you just bump it to the left there. I really like how these are incorporated all in one. It just gives such a nice clean appearance on the bars. On Royal Enfield, they even have their kind of name, Royal Enfield since 1901. If again can get the camera to focus for you, there we go. Even on these switches, they have those that writing on there, which really, they could have left these blank, and I don't think anyone would have really complained, but they just add all these little touches there, and it really makes the bike feel like such a quality machine. Of course it is, but it really just adds to it. Everywhere you look, there's little fit and finish things that you notice, and it's really quite satisfying. Moving here, we have hazards as standard. So let me talk about this for 1 second. Turn the ignition on, and then we can turn our hazards on, and then we can actually turn the key back off, so we're not using up much battery there, or using a lesser amount of the battery while the hazards are on. And that's just an awesome safety feature. Once again, even with that center stand, just another feature that is standard on these bikes that really is a huge value in my opinion. There's bikes that are twice the cost, even more of these, and they don't have hazards as standard, and that is just such a nice safe feature depending on maybe where you parked or you are on the side of the road for some reason. It's just, that could literally mean your life if someone's seeing you. So I really like that that's standard on these. Now let me flip on the gauges. You can see there is a nice fuel gauge there. We've got 2 miles on this bike. It is new, and it did just have a quick road test after it was assembled. We've got our array of warning lights here, which most do go out when you start the bike, of course. And if we press our multifunction button here, we can go to our trip A, trip B, and back to our odometer. So if we want to reset one of our trips, all we have to do is go to our respective trip here, and then we push and hold the button, and then we can see that resets right back to 0. So really quick and intuitive there. Now let's give the bike a start. It is stone cold. My fingers there on the pipe, as long as I want, it's the same temperature as it is outside. So now all we have to do is bump the starter. Starts right up. And these bikes really run so smooth, especially on a cold start. We can see the nice LED beam there, and I can turn on our high beam. And now I'll give it a couple just very light revs. Of course it's cold. So even with the factory pipes, these bikes are a hoot to ride. They have a great, that kind of classic parallel twin growl to them. And especially if you're gonna do an aftermarket exhaust, it really opens them up and sounds really quite nice. And of course, now getting to accessories, we sell a lot of different accessories for these bikes for you to personalize them. Things from different mirror options if you want to go with bar and mirrors, different seat options, engine protection, even a skid plate for sump protection. We've got different windscreen options and even more to personalize your bikes. Royal Enfield now, they're making a lot of little nice added touches, even things like the master cylinder cap. I believe you can get now in like a machined aluminum. So all sorts of cool things Royal Enfield is really adding to their accessories, and these bikes are just really hard to beat for the quality and the value you get. So I believe I've covered these bikes pretty thoroughly. If I may have missed something or you have a question, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll do my best to reply. I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you learned something new about these bikes. These bikes are actually for sale at AlphaCars at the date of this video. We always have a huge inventory of new and sometimes lightly used Royal Enfields, so definitely check out our website and stay on top of our inventory. If you have been looking for one of these, we have lots of customers, even out of state or across the country, that will ship these to when they can't find a certain color or a certain model somewhere else. So definitely keep that in mind. So this has been Ian reporting from our Boxborough location. Please leave a like on this video and subscribe so then you don't miss out on the latest motoring content.